Delia, fantastic. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to come and chat with me today. I came across your profile on LinkedIn and was absolutely astounded by the amount of work that you've been doing to help job seekers. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you for the invitation, Trisha. I'm very honored to speak with you today. So my name is Delia Caluser. I am a job search strategist and I also work as an IT recruiter. What I do is help job seekers get noticed faster on the market and land the job they want.
Fantastic.
That's how I can help people.
So great to hear, really, especially in these times as so many people, struggling to find work, difficulties with their CV, not hearing from recruiters. It's really becoming quite a huge issue of late. Whereabouts are you based?
I am based in Romania, in Transylvania. Maybe you heard the Dracula stories. That's the place where I live, but Dracula is only a myth, so only stories. But It's a nice region and happy people here, let's say. So.
Great. Do you know, I've never really worked with anyone in the Romanian region or that side of the world. It's lovely to meet someone and I guess have like-minded no matter where we are in the world. So many job seekers or now even people working throughout the world can go for jobs regionally or globally as the recruitment is not sort of designated to one area. Are you working with people outside of Romania?
Yes, my services are global. I help job seekers around the world. I have expertise in this area and a lot of experience. I know with what every region requires, or it's not an obstacle, let's say. So.
Yeah, great. And IT, it's such a maybe a different sector, and maybe even being a female. I'm not sure if you found, for me, myself, I don't know many female recruiters or job search strategists in the IT.
Well, in my country, it's not unusual for women to be recruiters. We have less men recruiters. So I didn't have any issues related to this.
Yeah, fair enough. Good. I guess I wanted to hear your perspective in terms of, are you finding that many people are applying for jobs but never really hearing back from recruiters? Or being you as a recruiter yourself, are you overwhelmed with the number of applicants that you're seeing?
Yes, and it happens a lot, yes, to all of these questions. So let's start by mentioning that job seekers, they think that having a perfect resume or perfect LinkedIn profile does all the job. It's not like that. You have to be able to build a relationship with a recruiter, and you have to understand how recruitment works. I realized recently that maybe half or more than half of the job seekers do not know how these recruitment processes work or how a recruiter thinks. One of the main reasons they don't get an answer is timing. What means timing? You have to be at the right place at the right moment. That means the company where you apply should have an open position, but that doesn't happen so often. So maybe you're lucky they have a vacancy at that moment, but in most of the cases they don't have. This is one of the main reasons why recruiter don't answer your messages. Let's say you job seekers contact them on LinkedIn or on email, and they receive some automated message like, thank you for your application. We will contact you if we have an open position. And another problem is talent pools. Talent pools is the places where company gather CVs and data from all job seekers. You will say, yes, they have my CV, job seekers say, they have my CV in the talent pool and they will contact me as soon as there is some opening. But it is not the case. Here's the trick. These talent pools are not up to date. For example, I received the CV from Jane. Jane has sent this her application to other 20 companies. I know she's interviewing and she's probably getting a hiring offer next week. I get her CV in the talent pool, but after 2 weeks, that CV is not up to date. So my talent pool is not up to date. I have 200, 500, thousands of James in my talent pools, and I cannot use that information. Then this is another reason. What can be another explanation for this is the workload. As you mentioned, I work as an independent recruiter. That means I don't have a boss. I am my own boss. But most of the recruiters are in-house recruiters. They work for a company. That means they have to screen resumes. They have to organize interviews. They have to write reports. They have to headhunt. It's a lot of work to do. And time management can be a stress sometimes, and not everybody is so good with this. So the workload of a recruiter can be another reason for why job seekers don't get a message back. And there are also job seekers who insist who spam recruiters. That's also a big problem, and recruiters don't like to see desperate approaches. So you send me the CV, okay, I have your CV, but don't follow up 10 times, not even 3 times, because I have your CV, but I don't have a role for you. I don't have the opportunity you want, or you don't match to any of my projects. So does this make sense?
Yeah, really. I think you touched on 2 really, really fantastic points that I would like to recap. The first you mentioned, and the likes of a talent pool. Could you maybe walk us through that a little bit? So how or when does the CV no longer match or fit in that talent pool? And how does one make sure that they are reoccurring in the talent pool?
Yes, it's a good question. Yes, recruiters should from time to time update this talent pool, but it's a lot of work to do. And I talk to colleagues of mine about how they work in these cases. For example, they have an open position, they check the talent pool, and then they contact people, seeing if the resume is up to date, or if they have changed jobs lately, or if they are still looking for an opportunity. So it is a database, but it needs to be updated.
I see. And is there a likes of, is it manually having to go through it, or is it screening tools and software and maybe even artificial intelligence updating the talent pool, or is it all manual work?
No, manual work was in the past, let's say. And companies today use softwares for this. So it's easier to pop up.
Yeah.
Searches and yes.
It really means that the CV has to be software or ATS compliant, even for the screening pools or tools.
Yes, because this screening program picks up the keywords from your resume. That's how we as recruiters filter talent pools. If I'm a Java developer, I type the word Java, and it filters all people having Java in the resume.
Insights. I guess even once you pass the initial screening tool, there's still a second layer once you're in the talent pool itself. So,
yes.
Yeah, good. Also, you mentioned something that's quite important, I guess, in terms of I shouldn't say the word harassing, but maybe overreaching to the recruiter, over follow-up.
Spamming. Yes.
That's the word, yeah.
Spamming, it's one of the preferred approach. I don't know why. I believe people are desperate looking for a job, and they want to rush everything. But in today's world, spamming is not an option. You should leave room for conversation. And what is most important, the recruiter doesn't know you, doesn't know your value. You should show what your value is behind the CV. That is an important point today.
I see. And so what do you think, or even as a recruiter yourself, what would you like to see in terms of engaging in conversations? Or how can a job seeker reach out to a recruiter without sounding desperate? What, from your perspective?
The answer is networking. I know it's everywhere on LinkedIn, but this is the ideal answer. So job seekers should put more effort in networking, in making themselves visible, so that headhunters can pick them up from the crowd. That's one way to do it, and that's how you can start a conversation with recruiters. For example, if the job seeker posts content or engages with posts of the recruiters, if that job seeker reaches out, the recruiter already knows who or she is, and it's more likely to answer and to mention, yes, I liked your comment, yes, I know you have that perspective on things, yes, I know you. Yes. It works. It is the basic rule of networking. Not many job seekers do this, but I saw some that already use this advantages of networking, and it's okay.
Yeah.
They get a lot of opportunities now.
I think you've raised a really, really valid point that it will probably increase your chances of being recognized when you're engaging in conversations rather than hammering them with an inbox like 10 times. Have you seen my CV? Any word, following up on the above, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. I think though it's time consuming for the job seeker and can be a burden. Always, it's like a full-time job seeking. But at the end of the day, I guess if you really want it, these are the types of strategies you have to put in place. I wanted to touch on, from your perspective, in terms of LinkedIn optimization or even CV optimization, what would you suggest to put on your CV to make sure that it is both ATS compliant and to make sure that it is optimized for a job application? What would be some advice you could give?
Yes, the first big advice is not to send the same resume everywhere. Job seekers should tailor their resumes. Don't assume that by sending your resume, even if it's the perfect one, you will fit the job. So it needs to be ATS compliant. So you can contact a professional who knows how to do this. Don't trust all information on the internet or on social media, so only professionals advise. And then you need the keywords from the job description. That's crucial for a successful CV. And as for the LinkedIn profile, that works as a marketing tool. There you have much more space for being creative, and it's another story.
Yeah, this is true. We could do a whole nother webinar on the LinkedIn. But,
yes, it's a huge topic.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And it's forever evolving. But
yes.
I wanted to maybe hear your perspective in terms of how many attempts, or if you're not hearing back from recruiters, are there any maybe alternative ways that you could try to reach them? Or how far does one go before they give up? Or what is your experience?
Most job seekers send 2 or 3 follow-up messages, and some even call. But I would like to explain why not calling a recruiter. For example, take me as example. I'm saying I'm preparing myself for an interview, or I'm working on some content creation for LinkedIn, and the phone rings. And I don't know who that is. Maybe I've spoken with 4 people that day, 10 people the day before, and I don't have the projects in front of me and your name, and I don't know who is calling. So I'm not bad intended, but I don't know where to pick you up when you're calling me. Hello, it's Trisha. Do you have any news about my job application? Now let's say, who is Trisha? And that is what is happening. So if you call a recruiter, so all of a sudden they don't know maybe who you are, and you don't get the response you want. So better use emails or LinkedIn messages or whatever you used with that recruiter before.
Yes, great. And I also have the same opinion. It's very difficult when the client or the job seeker just picks up the phone and rings you and say, have you had a chance to review my CV? Or I'm ringing in regards to my CV. It's really, really important, if you are going to go down that approach, that you introduce yourself. You maybe let them know when you did send their CV, what job title you are looking for, or
yes.
So then you give a little bit of background before jumping straight into, did you review my CV? I think even myself, with the experience of job seekers reaching out this way, it's very difficult. So I think you touched on a good point that maybe email is best, or make a clear introduction when you do go to make that phone call.
Yes.
I think in terms of global or international applications, do you think the same applies? Is there any differences in a CV or LinkedIn, or not hearing back from a recruiter, whether it's in Australia, Canada, New Zealand versus regionally? Or is it a general approach?
It's not bound to a region. I received feedbacks feedbacks from my clients around the world, and it's the same everywhere. And this reason that I mentioned, the first part of our conversation, they apply everywhere. So recruiters don't have an open position. They have a great workload, or there are also personal distraction reasons. For example, this pandemic going on is another reason why they may be distracted, or maybe even have health problem, or someone they know is struggling right now. And guess what? Your CV is at the end of the priorities that day, that week, maybe that month. And it's a reality. I know it's harsh, but it's our new reality.
Yes, definitely.
So it's to answer your question, it's not region bound, so it's global.
Yes, I agree with you entirely. I also wanted to find out your perspective in terms of, if someone is not fully or 100% qualified for that role that they're applying for. For example, maybe they are wanting to transfer into the IT sector and they don't have a lot of experience, maybe just small extended tasks in their prior job, but want to transition into a new role. They're not hearing back from recruiters because it's a transferable, or maybe they're not 100% qualified. What would you recommend, or how could someone reach out to a recruiter for a transferable role?
So yes, a good question. I always teach my candidates in this kind of cases that they are plan B for a role. So they're not plan A, they're plan B, and should accept that. If they want to reach out to a recruiter, the best way to do that is with a cover letter where you can explain why you want to switch your career, because that is not on your CV, it's not on your LinkedIn profile, and the recruiter doesn't have a clue what you want to do next. We see as a recruiter your past background and experience, but we don't know what you want to do with your future. Maybe I work as a recruiter, starting tomorrow I want to be a fitness trainer, but you don't know that because it's not in my CV, it's only a hobby of mine, it's not on LinkedIn, but I want to make this change. So the cover letter is the best way to do it and to introduce yourself.
Amazing, really, really good. There's been, I guess, a lot of conversations lately on whether a cover letter is required or if it's a dying tool, but I think you really explained where it's really important to have one. So thank you for that. Yeah, hopefully it clears some of the
Yes, as a funny fact, cover letters I receive are like, "Hi, here is my CV," or "Here is my resume," and end of the email. And I tell people this is not the way to do this, because I receive a lot of resumes. I have to check out my lists. But please give me some background, as you mentioned earlier. You apply for that role, you're interested in that and that. Not here is my CV. And most of the people send them from their iPhones, where they don't write anything. So I also have this kind of
yes.
Scenario, let's say like that. So cover letters are not out of date. They help people in this particular example as for career switching. It's very good to use it.
Exactly, I agree. It's one tool of many that a job seeker can use. Yeah, good. I think you touched on a good point about people just send their resumes sometime without any even email body. It's literally just the subject line and the CV. I think,
yes,
yeah, this really needs to be realized that it's not the best strategy at all.
I always advise my clients to think as recruiters. I tell them, now you're the recruiter, and I'm doing that. I'm spamming you. I'm sending you a mail without a body. I'm sending you a resume which is not tailored. Would you call me or not? And they're saying, no, I won't call you. That's the best way to
put the hat
see
on,
how it works.
put your shoes on in their feet, as they say.
Yes.
Oh, good. So I guess maybe what would be 3 or 4 of your top job search strategies?
What people need, the top one is networking. The second one, and is a misconception in this industry, is online applying. So don't rely only on online applying. The third one would be to show how you can add value to people and to a business. Companies today look for this. They search social media about, they search your activity there to learn more about you. And the last one would be for people to have faith in their own powers and to be patient, because they will find a job. So not get desperate.
Yeah,
It's a strategy, a kind of strategy. It's at the end of the list, but it is very important not to get desperate, because if you're desperate and you don't have patience, then you make mistakes.
Yeah, I think you touched on such really important strategies, and I really like the fact you raised about the social media, because I was having some calls last week about artificial intelligence screening your social media platforms to be able to determine if you are the perfect fit for that job or the company. So I think it's really great that we're aligning on the same points. It's unfortunate, and whether or not we believe it's a good thing, that social media is being scanned, but unfortunately it's already happening. So yeah,
Yes, it happens. Yes, I I know because I'm a recruiter, and if I send candidates out to employers, I have to check their Facebook, Twitter, or whatever platform they're using, because I don't want any surprises. Because if I don't check them, the employer will surely check them and will find something that doesn't fit sometimes.
Yes.
It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's important that people are aware that it is occurring. So you're definitely right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my dear, tell me, how can your audience or our audience get a hold of you, and what services do you have available at the moment?
Yes, then people can call me or write me on LinkedIn, on my LinkedIn profile. It's Delia Caluser. And what I offer is CV writing, LinkedIn profile optimization, I also help people with interview preparations and social media branding campaigns. So it's only branding for job seekers, not any kind of branding. And the most important of all is developing job search strategies. I have a long list, about 30 points or more, for what job seekers should do and what the strategy means. Strategy, like the military strategy is how to act, what to do, how to approach things, how to approach the market, how to approach recruiters, what tools to use, when to use them, how to use them. This is the most complex one of my services, and it helps people a lot.
Great, great. Really, I think there are so many CV writers out there, and including myself, which, by the way, fantastic that we can team up. I know that some people are often scared to discuss with their competition, but I think when you work together and you can bounce ideas off each other and share your network, it really builds a network and trust among ourselves. But I think you offer such differentiated service in terms of strategy. I'm seeing among the market not many people offering these services. So job search strategy is something really unique to your business. So I really do wish you all the best. I will make sure
Thank
that
you.
I put in details down below for people to reach out to you. I know that you're
Thank
based
you.
here, but anyone can contact you worldwide. So it's been lovely chatting. I think you have offered some fantastic